Hello. Okay, next tutorial. Today's video is going to teach you how to turn yourself into the red guy from Don't Hug Me I'm Scared. I've always been a huge fan of the series, so when the TV show came out last month I was so excited you've no idea. There's this perfect moment in the show, without spoiling too much, where you see a small glimpse at what's behind Red Guy's hair, so I thought I'd try my best to recreate it. It's just so silly and creepy, I love it. So if you'd like to learn how to recreate this costume and makeup for yourself, stay tuned. Okie dokie, so to get things started, we're going to make the iconic wig slash headdress for this look. So to do this, you're going to need the following items. You'll need some form of headstand, like a polystyrene head for example, a tape measure, a needle and thread, a hot glue gun, some scissors, some burgundy and black felt, 2 styrofoam balls or ping pong balls roughly 4.5 centimeters wide, some elastic mesh material of any colour, and of course some red wool. I'm using 4 bundles worth, which is about 400 grams or 280 meters per bundle. And I also made some little red mittens because I just really wanted to, really. They look so sweet. So for the first step, we're going to take our tape measure and we're going to measure the circumference of our head. We can then take our mesh and cut that measurement out, making sure the width is about as thick as our hand. It doesn't need to be much more than that. You can then take a needle and thread and sew the 2 sides together so that you have a tube. I've already done mine here, nice and tubey. We can then take that mesh and pop it on the top of our head. I can then grip the very, very tip top of the fabric, bunch it up, and then sew this together with the needle and thread. Now it doesn't have to lie particularly flat, this doesn't have to be neat at all, to be honest. You could even bunch certain areas to make little darts and then sew those together just to make it more of a flat fit, but it really isn't necessary because there's going to be quite a lot of wool on top. So when you've done that step, it'll look something like this. Now I've turned it inside out as well, so the stitch is on the underside, but again, it doesn't matter too much. Now it does kind of resemble a hairnet, which you could use, but in the past I've found that it's just too stretchy and the holes are far too small. It just works far better with mesh in my opinion. But yeah, so now we have a nice base for our wool. So now onto the fun part. The red wool. So we're going to be working in strands no more than about 50 centimeters long. We basically want it to go from the top of the head down past the chest. We can always cut it afterwards if you're not happy with the length, but we really want to make sure it's quite long to start off with. So you'll then want to take that wool and then double it up at the 50 centimeter point. So you've got 100 centimeters of wool, cut that off, and then we have a nice loop. So basically that would be 2 strands of hair. So you can imagine this is a process that might take a while, but trust me when I say it's so therapeutic. I've made loads of woolen wigs like this and they're always a treat to make. So just make sure to make quite a few of these before you start. I tend to make them in batches of 20 just so I don't make too many. We can then take the looped end of one of the strands, locate one of the holes on the mesh, pop that loop through, pull it through, then take the ends of the thread, put that through and then pull it tight, and then let go. Ta-da! It's literally as simple as that. I mean, that's my method for doing it anyway. It's completely secure, it won't go anywhere, you don't have to tighten a knot if you don't want to, so if you wanted to repurpose the wool at any point, you absolutely can. Yeah. The idea then is to replicate that process going around the head methodically, so a circle at a time until you get to the peak. You don't really want to apply the wool in every single hole unless you really want a big, big wig. So I tend to skip maybe 2 holes in between threads, so I'll go 1 hole with the thread, count 1, 2, and on the 3rd hole add another line of wool. So I'm just going to repeat that process going around the edge, not down the bottom because we don't really need to worry about the nape of the neck, we're just going to go in a circular motion, and then we'll see what it looks like from there. Okie dokie, so when you're done, it'll look something like this. So the next step is to repeat that entire process, but this time going in a brick formation. So for every gap that we left, we'll choose that hole there. Then of course the next step will be to follow the original pattern and then repeat that alternating shapes. So a brick pattern. The only difference in method with the wool is to still take the loop, then we pop that through the hole, pull that through, but then we want to take the ends, go to the adjacent hole, pull the ends through, and then still place the ends through the original loop and then pull that tight again. Yeah, so this process could take a while of course, but just keep going around and around, alternating that brick pattern until we get to the very peak of the head. So then when you're done, it'll look something like this. Glorious. Then next, we can work on adding the two eye tubes. I say eye tubes because they're not just two circles on the top of the head, they do have a tube behind them. So as I've already measured the polystyrene balls, we can go straight in with the burgundy fabric. Make sure if you are doing this step to use burgundy fabric and not red because it needs to stand out from the hair. And I'm going to take the burgundy felt and cut it into two rectangles. So these are 14 by 8 centimeters. So just long enough that it will go around the polystyrene ball. I'm going to take my hot glue gun, apply it to the side of the fabric and then two of the edges but not the back. And then I can pop that over the top of the polystyrene ball and then stick that down halfway. I can then stick the two overlapping folds together. So when you're done, it'll look something like that. Then I'm going to take the hot glue gun again and apply some glue just to this area here and then pinch the two sides together on both of the eye tubes. So then you'll be left with something that looks like this. So then let's work on the pupils. So I'm going to be using some black felt for this and I'm going to be cutting out two circles that are about 1 centimetre in diameter. I can then take my new felt pupil and glue that to the centre of my new eyes. So when you're done, it should look something like this. Oh, that's very creepy. I'm then going to take my new eyes, apply a tiny bit of hot glue to the underside and then stick them down. And there we go, so that's our headdress officially complete. You could of course stop now because this is of course the iconic character design. However, I want to go one step further and paint on some really creepy teeth. I just really like the idea of going up to some really unsuspecting person and then just parting the hair and then there's that really scary grin underneath. It just sounds really fun to me. So if you wanted to do that step next, stay tuned. Okie dokie, so to start the makeup off, I'm going to take my favourite makeup pencil. This one is a Kryolan face liner pencil in black. It doesn't really matter which one you use as long as it leaves a mark and it's easy to wipe away if you make a mistake. And I'm going to start drawing on the teeth. Now usually when I draw on a fake mouth, I would start with like the outline of the mouth, but yeah, he doesn't have one, it's just teeth. Now I am going to have a little bit of creative license with these teeth because from what you can see in the TV show, it's very brief. So I'm just going to kind of make it up as I go along, keep them to roughly the same shape. So I'm going to take my makeup pencil and start roughly tracing on the shape that I want for the teeth. I can then take a white face paint by Superstar and colour in these teeth. I can then take a black Superstar face paint and a really sharp angle brush and I can start defining these teeth. Then taking another Superstar face paint, this one is in Bubblegum, just a really nice bright pink. I'm going to paint on a gum line. Just remember it doesn't need to have an edge because it's just going to fade off into the face. Okie dokie, so don't worry about the pink being neat because as I said, it is just going to be blended off in the end. So then I'm going to take a black eyeshadow. This one is in Bulletproof by Sugarpill. And I'm going to take a small fluffy brush and I'm going to apply that eyeshadow just to the end teeth and then sweep that towards the middle, going over maybe 1 or 2 teeth, just so it looks like the teeth are peering out of the face. I'm also then taking the same fluffy brush with the same eyeshadow and I'm just going to go along the top and bottoms of the teeth and then blend them away ever so slightly. Okay, so as you can see, I also went between each tooth and scored upwards and downwards with the same black eyeshadow. So then I'm just going to take a new fluffy brush and a yellow eyeshadow. The one I'm using is called Cupcake by Sugarpill. And I'm just going to really, really lightly dust that over some of the teeth just to make everything look a little bit more decayed. I'm then going to take a red face paint by Superstar and I'm going to colour in around the mouth and then buff that colour into the pink so it just fades off. So there we go, so there's no lip shape, the pink just blends off into the red. So then I'm just going to take a tiny bit of the black watercolour and I'm just going to draw a half moon shape either side of the mouth and then just blend it away, just so it makes the cheeks look a little bit more hollow, so it makes the teeth really look like they're peering outwards. Then finally I can take the same red face paint from before and colour in the rest of my face, my ears and my neck. Okie dokie, so again, don't worry about it being particularly neat, it's really just there, just in case some of the wall parts and you see some of your skin through. So then, all that's left for us to do is to pop on our costume, pop on our headdress, and we'll see what everything looks like. And there we go, that's my look, officially complete. So I finished off the look by popping on my headdress, putting on a red t-shirt and finally popping on my little red mittens. And there we have the red guy. This is such a silly look, but I cannot stop smiling under all this, it's ridiculously fun. And yeah, so that's my makeup tutorial. I really hope you all enjoyed it. I really thought it'd be fun to try and mix like a costume and makeup tutorial together, so I hope this is all okay. If you want me to do more Don't Hug Me I'm Scared character makeups in the future, please do let me know. So thanks for watching, Fluffies. If you did like this tutorial, please make sure to, you know, the usual, like, comment, subscribe and all that jazz. And yeah, so until next time, bye Fluffies!